Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Patty G Show. We are sitting in here with two model dentists. That's right, we have Dr. Tim and Dr. Lucy in talking about their practice, their expansion, and their vision for how to create a new practitioner-led corporate within the dental practice. So great episode coming your way. This week's episode brought to you by Cortex, Falia Real Estate, Lakeman's Health Center, and PB&J Productions. Enjoy the show. So what is Model Dentistry? Who are y'all? How did this come to be? Let's start from ground zero.
Okay, so I'm a 40-year practicing dentist, and I practiced by myself until about a year ago, just under my name, Timothy R. Rabon, DDS. Lucy is my only child. She finished dental school last May, but we had obviously talked about her coming in. As a lone wolf, I needed to make some type of name change, so I let her take that. She has the vision, and I'm kind of at the end of my career to some degree, even though I see no near future where I'm going to quit, but I'm not visionary at this point. So she takes that, and I'm kind of one of the main laborer, clinician, and clinic director. And
yeah, so we kind of, as seeing his career, over years, and he's had a very successful individual practice. I've kind of came in, he's entrepreneurial, but I guess have an entrepreneurial spirit. And so I wanted to kind of approach it a little differently. So I've seen there's been a big shift in dentistry from back in the day, when he and all his buddies graduated. They graduated from dental school, popped a shingle up, and they had a thriving practice. Not like its success happens overnight, but it was, the marketing was not quite as competitive, and cost of everything was a lot less. So there's been this shift towards corporate dentistry, private equity flooding money into dentistry, as I'm sure you've heard of or seen. And I mean, obviously that's because there's money to be made, but it's also because they saw an opportunity that existed, and single doc clinicians aren't as easy to come by, because it's, having good quality staff and paying for that's very challenging. Having supplies, I mean, just inflation has just hit the industry, as a lot of them have. So with that being said, I kind of saw this from a perspective even prior to entering dental school, like how can I go about this differently? And so we've kind of, had talked about this way before. And so our goal is to kind of build multiple practices that is the group practice model that partners with really great, like, other doctors and providers and staff. And we can have the benefits of multi-group practice and growth without having to be corporate and be controlled by, have doctors making the choices and not be controlled by outside influences, essentially. So with that, I joined him, and we have two practices. He expanded his. We bought another one on the other side of town, and yeah, there's Model Dentistry. But I mean, it's existed. It's been him forever. We've just kind of,
In the last year, there's been a big shift.
yeah,
big shift.
yeah, big shift.
Yeah, we went from, I guess, what would have been 10 people and one doctor to like a staff of 30 and 4 doctors.
Yeah.
Almost overnight.
Yeah.
But really quick. I mean, it's a big scaling situation, which has been rewarding but challenging.
Yeah. So how was that whole scaling process? I mean, going from the one doctor view to now quadrupling that, and then adding enough team to handle everything.
Well, it was challenging, and
is.
It still is, and probably will be forever to some degree. But I'm used to doing what I did for years, and it's now I have another dentist. No, I now have a partner. Now we have more staff. Now we have extra, all kind of things. So it was challenging, but we'll get through it. We have some consultants, we have help, we have friends of ours who do similar things, and not trying to reinvent the wheel, just trying to get the processes in place, get the right people in the right seats on the bus, and just fight it day by day.
Yeah,
the business aspect.
Right.
I mean, and we, have seen, like, he has friends who have had multiple practices, and we've been in some, like, kind of dental entrepreneurial group. So you see what's possible. And so he's just hasn't done it himself, but we both agree on the vision, but it was kind of like, hey, he brings the clinical expertise, the years, and I bring the, I guess, vision and young energy. And so we've kind of like have a marriage and partnership with that, and then we're obviously father-daughter, where we see each other. We spend a lot of time together.
For better.
And we live in the same neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh, and you live in the same neighborhood.
And we're all together all the time.
Oh,
so.
Man. So is there a balance? Because, I grew up in a family business with my dad being third generation and then my brother now being fourth generation, helping run and sustain the business and everything. And there's always that topic of balance between family and business. What does that look like for y'all?
Well, it's all tied in. There's no balance when you have your own business.
There is no work-life balance. That's a myth.
It's 24/7.
Yeah.
But a lot of our family time is related to business. So you have to be very intentional about, hey, don't talk about that. Let's look at the ball game, or let's talk about Susie Q or something. That's so. But there's really no work-life balance. Anybody who's an entrepreneur knows that. You don't shut it down at 5:00 Friday afternoon and enjoy the weekend. You can still enjoy the weekend. And business is fun. It's a sport. But it's challenging, like anything you try to be successful in and put your effort into. But just repeat it and persevere, and I would think most of the time it'll work out.
Yeah, we just recently, I'd probably say it took a year and a half, because we acquired the second practice while I was still in dental school. So it's been, I guess, I would say in total, would that be a year and a half now? Of change and growth. And we literally just had a family meeting, because my husband's involved in the business too. He was a practicing attorney of 8 years, and we just see a lot of potential and growth opportunity with the business of dentistry. And so he stepped back, and he's of counsel for his firm, and he basically does the operation. So it's truly, a family business.
That's a family run.
Yes. And so we literally just after a year and a half said, okay, we will not talk about business at the dinner table. And it works maybe 50% of the time.
I'll say that doesn't happen.
It works
every
until
time.
it doesn't.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
You start off and you're like, well, can't say how was your day. We kind of we're hand in hand all day.
Right.
Well, and this with especially if you grew up with a family like that, and then you being a business owner, I think that there's with entrepreneurship, you have to have an action bias. So when things come up, you have to act on them. So when it's 5:30 p.m., but we have a situation at work that we need to handle, we don't want to cut it off and deal with it tomorrow morning. We're just putting it off. So, we get home and we strategize, and we're all right, because we're really big on addressing things head on, or I would say we both are, right? We don't waste time, which can also be an issue. My husband's more mellow and not as reactionary. So there's a good balance, but I just don't believe work-life balance is a thing at all.
Yeah. It's balancing the life that you leave with, or life that you live with, the work that you have to do to make that life what you want.
Yes.
So it's true. You can't, as a business owner, as soon as something happens or pops up, you have to address it, because you're going to have many more the next day.
100%.
And so if you're oh, I'll put that off till tomorrow, and then tomorrow gets here and you're well, wait, I have 3 other things that just had, lit on fire, and I've got to deal with these. And then it's as you start leaving them for the day, the next day they start piling up.
Yep.
And then you're okay, I'm going to go and take a vacation or take some time off. And it's well, no, really, I'm just catching up on all the other things. Yeah. And so people are getting out of office, and you're just I'm really out of office, but I'm at home catching up on all these other things that I've just been putting off.
100%. And it, I think, does it affects the business. Obviously, what you don't, the conversations you're avoiding having, and the problems you're avoiding facing head on. You pay for that. You pay the price for that as a business owner. So, it's been tough to deal with home life being constant with work, but I think it's necessary. It comes with the territory. You choose to go all in, or you don't. So
yeah,
it's kind
of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes sense. You're either in it or you're going to be slowly out of it, because it's not going to succeed.
Correct.
Exactly. And then but one thing I will say, because we've both been talking about this recently, is from a mindset perspective, the same way. So my dad, he's the most disciplined person I know, much more disciplined than me. I think I'm decently disciplined, but tell him your goal for life with your push-ups.
Well, I've already met it. I've done 1 million push-ups.
You've done 1 million?
Yeah, I don't, they're kind of partial push-ups, but
No, they're not.
Well, no, they're about 3/4 push-ups, and then,
Okay.
and I was doing 1,000 a day for about 3 years and made that, and I do 700 a day now.
Wait.
So
And
literally
I haven't
every
missed a
morning
day.
he
What do you mean
wakes
a
up.
1,000? You do
Well,
seven-
not at one time. I
Well,
do
right,
sets
but
of
still,
50 or 100 just throughout the day, and as
So you would just like stop in between
Yes.
patients, go drop, and
No,
do 50
literally.
well,
push-ups.
usually in the morning. You talk about a morning person. I usually wake
Yeah.
up about 4:30, and
Okay.
usually by 6:30 I'm through.
So for 2 hours, you're doing.
Yeah, every night, every time my snooze hits, I'm down on the ground again. So every 9 minutes I do a set.
And how many is in a set for you?
Well, it depends. Minimum 50, and sometimes I think the most I ever did one time I was feel good did like 220 or 225.
Non-stop.
Yeah, but it's like anything. It's you do the same thing every day for years, and
Yeah.
yet certain muscles strengthen, and that's
That's,
so that not many people can say they've done a million of anything.
No, I mean, I know. I sure
Anyway.
can't. I mean, Jay, where are you at this point? How many push-ups
Not a
you
million.
pumping in
for
a
sure.
day, man?
Not a million.
I can't do one.
So anyway,
But
That's incredible. I'm
Yeah.
fascinated by
Oh,
this.
I forget what even
that's weird.
why I
It's
brought that
it's
up.
useless, but it's just
That's not useless.
So it's one of those things. I just get in my mind to do it, and so usually I'm very tunnel vision on certain
Very.
and I'll just pursue it. I love to study. Study things I want to. I
Right.
read and listen to different podcasts and things, and been involved in different masterminds, business as well as dentistry. The dentistry's kind of on the back burner now. That's not my main interest. That's why we have new blood coming in with new techniques and.
Well, he's done a million root canals and extractions, so there's not much
Yeah,
more
so-
to,
Right.
focus
But
on
anyway.
with that. But yeah, that being around him has really taught me a lot because he is so disciplined. And I think with entrepreneurship, like it's a part of you. So you realize like you reach one goal, but you're going for another. So that's why you have deciding. How old were you when you decided you were like, I'm just going to do 1 million push-ups? In my life?
I don't know, about 6 years ago, I just started. Of course, it started really, really slow, and I haven't missed a day. And I've been sick, and
You're still doing it.
I've never missed a day in 6 years.
Have you never missed a day of work in your life, huh?
I've never missed a day of work in my life. I'm gonna
That
give
was-
myself a watch. Yeah, I've missed a half a day one time because I dislocated my toe, but I've been sick and I've been injured, but I've never missed a day that had scheduled. Now I take some vacations,
Right.
but as far as just
Like a schedule, an
like wake up and say I don't
unscheduled
feel
miss.
good,
Yeah.
cancel Monday, never.
And
happened.
canceling never has happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you like keep this? I'm just fascinated by this push-up thing. So do you like keep that as like a back pocket party trick? If you're ever
I
somewhere,
don't want to do any right
if
now.
you, no, not right. No. I'm not saying right now, but if you're ever like at somewhere and somebody's talking about how much they lift or do this and that, and you're just like,
Well, so-
I'll get into a push-up contest, and you're just like, no, I don't want to do that. And they're like,
So-
no, come on, let's do push-ups, and then you're just
So
like
it's a good
banging out
conversation.
250
No,
push-ups.
that's what I was wondering, but it's that was a conversation. It's a good conversation. It's
Right.
a conversational piece.
Yeah, I mean that's. So do you log these?
No,
Like,
no,
how do you
no.
track that you've got? Or you just like
Well, I just
on average?
that's one set, and
Okay.
I'm gonna pump out 50 or 75 or 100, and I just keep counting and whatever. So for about 3 years, I want to do 1,000 a day, but I'm like, it's kind of silly, and I got hurt a little bit, so I had to kind of go for a while to the girl push-ups because my ankle was hurt. I have bad ankles, but anyway. So no, so I don't know exactly when I hit it, but I know I've hit it probably 6 months ago.
So if I ever wake up and have a lazy day, I'm like, oh, my dad, who's quite older than me, has done 1,000 push-ups today. So I think I can muster through whatever it is that I'm trying to overcome.
Yeah, you're snoozing at like 6:30,
Yeah.
7 o'clock, and he's over
done
there like,
1,000
I've already got my
push-ups.
1,000 push-ups in. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was that made me bring that up. Oh, I think I was saying that's one thing is with discipline that we've tried to both, I think, more recently, because the first year and a half of undergoing like the changes of the business have been, again, obviously, incredibly stressful. And so with that, you, I think, learn, it doesn't necessarily get easier, but your nervous system just gets more used to it and like being able to funnel through the daily stresses. And so, we've both been talking about how, if you're able to train yourself to do 1,000 push-ups a day and, train in the gym, you can also train your mind. So we've both been kind of like trying to figure out how to not be as reactionary when it comes to getting stressed out about things and just realizing that the outcome is going to be what it is. And the people who are calm, cool, and collected and that arrive at an answer generally have better outcomes. So kind of going through that, I guess.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, we're trying to systemize how to take mental stress that's self-imposed off, which has been interesting because I do think that the most successful people, they know how to do that and not take certain things too seriously. So,
well, you have to have some type of release, right? You got to be able to say, okay, I need a moment to just not be so bulleted on everything.
Yes.
You know, you got to be like, okay, let me take a little step back, whether it's let me go have a dinner away from the house, away from things, and kind of reset and then come back. Because if not, you're just going to get to a point where you're nonstop.
You're burnt
all
out.
the time, and then you end up burning out, and then you end up taking a week or two away from everything, and then you come back and you get all this pile up. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it gets tricky.
It definitely. Definitely. But
so you 40 years at this. At a certain point in your career, did you see, okay, I've got to pass this baton on?
Well, you know, I didn't do it right, meaning as a lone wolf, it all depends on you. I mean, if your mouth's not open, I'm unemployed. There's not, and I really never looked, you know, in theory at my thoughts now, which I've learned, you know, you should start a business with an exit, and I never had an exit, just never had a thought about that. And even if she wouldn't, because I enjoy what I do to some degree. That's my hobby. I like, and I'm pretty fast at it and decent at it since I've been doing it so long. So I haven't had an exit policy or plan. And the only when she was, you know, graduating high school, I just suggested, hey, I mean, you can go do this or do that because she's pretty bright and could do whatever. And I said, but you know, I've built a business. All you got to do is come in. You don't have to. You can shorten your runway significantly. So when then she started coming in, and not at a point I'm not ready to exit now. I might start taking off a little bit, but so there's a baton passing there, and she's my only child, so you don't have to worry about that with
the
people.
dynamic of siblings,
right?
Yeah, which I know can be challenging.
So that's what we're in the process of doing, and more just passing on management and scaling, and but not necessarily me being at the office. I plan on being there.
Yeah, it's been like while there's been obviously initial stress to change an existing model, because what is the stat that with dental offices, like if you acquire a new office, I'm sure this stands true in many businesses, you lose almost 100% of your staff within a year, right?
Yeah, usually within a year about 90%, because it's a different management, different style. People are accustomed to what they're doing, and that's challenging because you have great employees that have worked, and then sometimes they might not be comfortable or they might not fit in that system, and it's a change of the guard sometimes. So ideally, you try to keep really good ones on, and but attrition happens just because they don't want to necessarily make the change, and that's understandable.
But we've kind of like the position, because he wasn't necessarily going to sell it, we've tried to kind of come to this like almost happy medium where he's not ready to retire, but he wants to not have the managerial stress of if a staff member is sick or, just all the stress. He wants to be able to show up and do the dentistry.
Right.
And so that's where myself and my husband have come in. And then we've tried to, make an environment. Culture is big for us. And it's a challenge to overcome existing systems, and the new office that we acquired as well. But essentially to arrive at a possibility of a successful, happy situation for all those involved, his staff who's been there for a long time, because they don't have to worry about him quitting tomorrow and selling to somebody different. So I think that while it's had its challenging, the passing of the baton it works well, because hopefully, and I don't think, I know he gets stressed out, but he would be bored out of his mind if he didn't have something to wake up and do. So this way we can kind of like change it, and and he can just do the dentistry that he's really good at, and we can try to take
this
the other
business,
stress.
Business is business, but I had a system. The new office had a system. We're putting a new system, so it's everywhere, and we're trying to obviously systemize both of those to be exact, and then you just cut and paste, and if you purchase another office and you just put people, but they don't have to learn it. There's a system, just kind of like a McDonald's. How can they have high school people running that? It's not that they're brilliant. It's just they're the systems. The systems run it. So
yeah.
But that's where the challenge is. I think it, eventually, however long that takes, and once that happens, and then it starts rock and rolling. And that type of stress is gone. I'm sure there's other types of stress, but anyway.
Yeah. So in this other practice, is this just a second location, or is this a true operating practice that you all acquired, like with patients, with a staff, with a doctor?
Yes.
This episode of the Patty G Show is brought to you by Cortex. Cortex is the trusted technology partner for small businesses across Louisiana, delivering managed IT, cybersecurity, and smart strategies to help you leverage AI without the confusion. I mean, aren't we all confused by AI nowadays? As a locally owned company, we understand the challenges Louisiana businesses face and provide tailored solutions that keep your operations secure and efficient. Whether you're looking to strengthen your cybersecurity or explore how AI can give your business a competitive edge, Cortex is here to help. Be sure to mention the Patty G Show and receive a free cybersecurity risk and analysis to see where your business stands.
So it was a true operating location that
been there for 40 years.
Okay.
So on the other side, we're in Central right now, north of town a little bit, and then so my main office was on the corner of Hooper and Jor, and this other office was on the other side of Central. It's about 5 miles away on Greenville Springs Road. So I had my name, he had his name, and then we combined it, so they both are known as Model Dentistry now.
Okay.
Yeah, so the original doctor had been there for maybe 50 years at that point.
45. He's a couple, 3 years older than me.
And then he sold to a group that had multiple practices, and then we acquired it from them because it just wasn't working out for them, and they had other kind of ambitions. So we inherited, staff already there, which was definitely a challenge because I was kind of leading that whole process. You know, I was in dental school trying to figure out how to be a leader to people who don't necessarily have a reason to believe in me. So that was challenging in itself. But I am proud to say we have over half of the original staff has still stayed with us. And so we've, I think had success in that for sure. But yeah, so right now we have a doctor full time. His name's Dr. Wise. He works at that location. He's wonderful. And then at my dad's location, he expanded and we have another doctor there, Dr. Elliott. And then I'm between both. So it's 4 doctors total in 2 locations and hopefully more to come in the future.
Gotcha. So
yeah,
is that, so you've got 2 different systems then from like IT and just how things are done procedural wise.
We have, that's what
we're working on.
Yeah, I was about to say, how has that
They had 2 different
been?
softwares. So
Very
several
challenging.
dental software, so they were holding. So we're in the process of changing that now. So how did it work? Very cumbersome and very stressful,
Slow.
slow.
We had to be very strategic about it because that's the thing. I think that's why so many people, when they, like we were saying, have almost 100% turnover, because if someone rocks in and says, all right, y'all did it this way, but this is exactly how we do it, and you're on or you're off. I mean, not that there's not benefit to that, but it comes with the loss of people. So we've had to be very strategic in wanting to, because I believe, and I think we both are, your culture really matters, and having a team that like believes in you as doctors and owners, they're the ones, you're the one in there doing the actual dental work, but they're the ones handling everything from the front to the end. So there has to be a team buy-in, I guess. So you should say, so it was really important to us when we acquired this new office to make decisions that had the ultimate end goal in mind of being on the same system, but with intention and strategy to not like overwhelm anyone. So like we're just now a year and a half later getting on the same dental software, which anyone in the dental world knows that's absolutely, it's like, a complete IT change. It's very stressful and challenging, but I think we've done that the right way. I mean, I'm sure someone else would say there's that, but we would have rather been slow about it and kept our people on than to have tried to do things too fast and burn them out or scare them, if so you will.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier to figure out on the back end how to get records to and from the different offices than have a patient have an experience they're not familiar with.
Right.
And ultimately have the patient switch in addition to the staff being like, this is too much.
Exactly.
I don't want to deal with this. I'm out. Like I can go and
I've seen that face and heard that line before.
Yeah.
Too much. Yeah.
Yeah. And having my dad's patients that have been with him for literally ever. And we've now like kind of rebranded and expanded and updated the office. I mean, you have a lot of people who are like, this isn't the same, but it's part of it. I mean, if we keep the same level of quality that we have, and it comes with it. I mean, there's always natural attrition of both both team members and patients with any change. I mean, people don't like change, so.
No, they don't like change. Especially like uninformed change, right? When they just show up and they're like, what is what is this?
Yeah.
Like, this is totally different than what I am used to coming to for years and years and years.
Yes.
And you're like, oh no, we're just small, brief change. Nothing to worry about. It's like, well, who's clean? Like, especially for like dentistry and like medical stuff, it's so personal, right? You've got people with their hands in your mouth, and like you're a lot more
trust
interacting with these people than in other fields where it's like, oh, a new server's tonight at a restaurant. Like, okay, that's fine. You know, we never met the chef, so whatever's coming out should still be the same quality. Here, it's like, okay, whose hands are in my mouth?
Correct. Yeah.
No, it's really true.
That's a good observation.
I like though the uninformed change, because change is inevitable, but you can do it in a manner that if you can try to bring people on, and you learn. That's the thing too. Is like we've learned so much from just doing what we've done at my dad's office, expansion, and buying the other office, that number 3 will definitely go much more smoothly, because you learn. I think anytime you're doing anything new, it's just a series of mini errors and correcting their errors, and so, but you get better through time. So, that's
you're figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
You figure out, okay, we're adding a whole new building, a whole new team. A whole new dynamic that you've never met everybody before. And so now it's like we got to get everybody on the same page. And how do we manage 2 locations with people that are here and over here? And even though you're 5 miles away, it's still, it's not in the same roof.
Correct.
100%. And I think the reason that like it's been, I mean, again, while it's been stressful, but why our team has like stuck along for even when there's been like such big changes is because I think they know that we're genuine in like our pursuit to get things as streamlined as we can, but for the betterment of everyone. Because one thing, like, I think we all kind of stand by, and I've told them is like, to the team, we're all going to make a million mistakes, but like, we promise that we'll go home at night and reflect on them and try to be better, today than we were yesterday. And I think if they know that, patients too, then, and you have trust in who you are as a person, it supersedes kind of any circumstantial change that's happening as a result of like what's going on at the time.
Yeah. And I found, the more you communicate, the more you build up that trust equity with people, whether it be patients or staff.
100%. 100%.
So going into the dental school days, we've had, I think we've had one or two other dentists on the show, and the conversation around kind of the education piece that you receive in school versus when you get out of school, to your point earlier, it's like when you graduated, it was hang a shingle, and there was not enough at the time where people were seeking out dentists. Now you've got all the marketing, you got the business side of things.
Different world.
It's a whole different world. Have you seen throughout kind of the education piece where they've really pushed owning the practice, or is it just generally assumed you're going to go work for an existing one?
So when I came out, either you did your own thing or you found somebody who was probably getting ready to retire and went with them for a few years and they sold it to you. There was no corporate. And then she can take it. A few people would go in the military for a while, and maybe some of them may stay a career, but it was private practice, and that was the only option.
I don't think that there's just not really, I think, much education to beyond the actual dental techniques. When you're a senior, you get like a professional development class, which is helpful for sure. But I wouldn't say there's necessarily a push towards any. I think one of the best things about the dental profession is like there is a spot for everyone. If you want to be an associate forever, you can do that, and you can do well. And you can clock out at 4 p.m. and not worry about if your assistant's going to show up tomorrow or not. There's huge benefits to that. And I have tons of friends who are like, I'm never going to own. I don't want to own. And
right. A lot of headaches come with owning.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know if I'd say more than benefit, but I think it's all about your personality. So I think that's the thing is if you know that you're someone who if you want to own just one practice and be the, king of that castle, you can do that. If you want to be in group partnership, or you can do that. If you want to have 30 practices, you can do that. If you want to teach at the school, you can do that. So there's a lot of different opportunity within it. I wouldn't say that like dental school necessarily pushes one way or the other. I would say generally they just lack kind of explanation of anything beyond the actual technical profession, which is problematic in itself. But that's a different spiel.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like you've got your years 1 and 2, you're kind of slowly getting in the groove of things, and it's like year 3, you're just seeing patients.
Yeah.
From my understanding of how dental school is run, you know, you don't have that time for okay, great. Now that you've done all of that, now you've got to come over here and you've got to review payroll. You got to process payroll. Now you got to look through your insurance collections. Okay, now you got to look through this reporting. It's like you don't get any of that. I feel throughout it, and same thing with any other profession. Like we hire a bunch of interns that are at college age, and they sit there and they're like, oh yeah, I had to scratch my head here for this one. It's like the only time I'd ever seen it was in a book that was a perfect scenario. Like, welcome to the world of imperfect. Because nothing's going to be perfect in your world from here on out. Nothing's ever perfect. It's your job to make it perfect.
Yes.
You're not given a simple problem. Okay, this person walks in, they have X, Y, and Z. What do you do?
Right. Yeah, that's school for you. That's not real life.
Exactly.
Welcome to the brand new Falia mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falia mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falia in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falia, it's real estate reimagined.
Yeah. And so it's like and even in the medical profession too, it's like that business piece or that entrepreneurship piece. It's like really you have to go to the school of like hard knocks to figure it out.
Yeah. You can't just seek mentorship in business, not in your particular profession, or if you're more interested in investing or whatever. You have to seek mentorship because you don't learn that. There's really nowhere to learn that.
And I think like a part of my journey and like trying to, I guess, be a leader to the team, which again, I'm far from perfect with that, has been, I think a lot of people say we need to like more about business in dental school. And that's for sure. You need to know how to do payroll. You need to do things like that. But you also, through mentorship and through consultants, they can tell you how to handle a perfect phone call or what the systems, an idea of what the systems can be. I think like my personal journey, I like human psychology a lot. And as I've joined this kind of practice in the business, you realize that it's beyond even just like, I guess, what you could learn in a business book about certain systems, but what is business? I mean, it's people interacting with other people, exchange of goods and services, and it's the brains making the decision. And we don't spend any time learning anything about how human brain works in psychology. So I've spent quite a lot of time delving into what it is that makes people say yes, what it is that, drives humans to make decisions. And because I think that that's more valuable than even, again, you can pay for a consultant to tell you certain systems to do. But that I think should be included in some sort of curriculum within that should be a forced part of any professional school or any school in general, I think. I'm sure that won't happen, but
one can only hope, right?
Yeah. Maybe that can be all of our pursuit in another life.
There you go. But I mean, like within y'all's continued education, is there even topics around that business piece that you can at least go and listen to or be a part of? Or is that all just still, hey, here's a new way to extract a tooth?
So there's clinical consultants and, just continued education. We call it CE, whatever it is. But there's also business and a big deal. So a lot of people make a significant impact and a good living on the business of dentistry. How you, from front door to back, phone calls, insurance, this and that, case presentation, salesmanship, whatever you want to call, staff interaction, the proper supply, how to order supply, keep your overhead down, increase your production, being able to help patients. So, that will come if you can increase what you do produce, not talking money, but produce dentistry, the money comes with it. But, you can have some of the most skilled guys in my class. They were so quiet. They have great skills, but they're probably starving. because they just don't know how to interact with people at all.
Yeah, you always say like, it doesn't matter how beautiful of a prep you cut if you don't know how to sell, for a better word, but present treatment in a manner that a patient understands the value that you have to provide and accepts it. It's irrelevant how good what you do is. So I think that, so you need to learn and sales skills and people skills to be able to serve patients well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true across a lot of different fields.
Yeah.
Like we had a brain surgeon on here a couple of weeks ago, and it was the same situation where he was like, you have a very small class of graduating surgeons annually for the nation, and 50 or whatever the percent was that he said can't talk to people.
No,
but they are extremely precise.
Yes,
they're so talented. They're so well able to do their craft that they just come in, operate, and leave.
Yeah.
So then they have to either be a part of a team that handles everything else, or they've got to figure out a way to navigate the world, or to your point, they'll starve. You know, you can be as great as you want at your craft, but if you can't talk to somebody else or engage with somebody, then especially a hands-on craft like dentistry or even the medical practice as a whole, like you have to be able to do something with people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for me, going through LSU, like we were in the business school, like we got communication courses, we got accounting courses, we got economics, we got law, like we got all this well-roundedness. And then you look at like the medical career path.
Yeah.
And it's like,
we have the Krebs cycle.
Like you got, you know, biology, your chemistry, like all that other stuff. There's no really touch points for business.
Right.
And it's like, how can we bridge that gap? What can be done? Because you need it.
Well, that's why the corporate world is so appealing to new graduates, because they don't have to worry. And if they do have some entrepreneurial spirit or want to do something on their own one day, they can observe and watch and learn.
Yeah, I think that is why, to his point, that the corporate world has really been able to take over, for lack of a better word, because a lot of people come out and they're not either exposed to that, or, you know, you go and you work all day and you're drilling teeth and then you're tired. You don't necessarily want to go learn how to study psychology after for 4 hours.
So new people don't want to learn that, or it's almost, and older people, they're tired of dealing with insurance and patients and the staff and anything that goes along with the business. So, you know, a corporate will come in and give them some sort of a buyout, and they just come and do the dentistry then, and they don't have to worry about anything anymore.
Which there's definitely, I think, a beauty to that. But I do think that whenever you associateship, like there's a lot of, I think, again, benefits to being able to just walk in, leave, and not have to worry about that. And there's like a comfort in that. And so I think with just depending on your certain personality, like having that option is very, very, I don't know, beneficial. And I can understand why it's created such a strong force within the dental world, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, the private equity game is strong. They want to acquire dental practices because they see how lucrative they can be, and they know the systems. They can come in and implement that business structure. But what I worry about is, like, you've got your private equity life cycle of 5 to 7 years before somebody's either selling out or they're closing shop, because that's just how
some
works.
of them are such a debt ratio there. But also, you know, when you sign a deal Friday and you come in, you've been boss for every night. Monday, you make no decisions. And the equity people are sitting in a skyscraper in Chicago. They don't care what Miss Jones needs. If it's a conservative, they push it. That's the things I've heard. They push the dentist to do things that are maybe unethical, because to some degree, I'm not saying they do it, but they sure push it, because all they worry about is the bottom dollar.
Yeah.
They could care less anything about the care of the patients. They buy that practice for a business, and they do put a lot of pressure on. So anyway, it's a real thing. It's a significant thing. It is a way to bail out, and it's a way to start if you're so. But it's just a different model. So we're trying to do group practices, but still maintaining ethics and quality and interaction and family orientation with the patients. So, you know, long time patients, as opposed to them just hit once or twice, and every time they come, they see a new dentist. That's not what we're looking for.
Yeah. And there is obviously benefit in numbers. The more you have scaled, the more capital you have, which can directly result in investment in consulting, or, you know, better things for your team and supplies, and technology for patients. So we've kind of decided not to try to, because there's a lot of people who are, I think, bitter about the corporate takeover of dentistry, which I understand, but we've kind of tried to partner and have, our different strengths come in and be able to, I don't know, I wouldn't say beat it because it's too big of a beast to try to beat, but I say if you can't beat it, join it, to try to like look at the positives that you get from it and build a business model around that with respect to the fact that like things have changed, they naturally have changed and will continue to.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have that group model dentistry that's practitioner led and owned.
Correct.
As opposed to having a private equity group wherever they are analyzing the P&Ls and the balance sheet.
Correct.
And looking and seeing, okay, yeah, if we invest capital in this enterprise, we can expand and add a couple more locations, or we'll acquire a few more aging out dentists and say, hey, we'll buy your practice from you. You stay on for X number of years, and we're going to take those really intelligent people that have low social skills and implement them in the practice because we know they're going to do superior service. And if we can get great service, then we can increase the bottom line. Then we just have to make sure that the rest of the team has some personal skills.
Right.
So you got a great receptionist to make up for it. You got a great assistant to make up for it. And then you've just got these doctors and these dentists come in and they're operating.
Yeah.
Because they've kind of got to figure out, how do we solve for not having them go through interpersonal training and not having them go through communication studies and psychology and all that stuff. Okay, well, let's just build a team around them because they're really the money makers.
Yeah.
They're the ones coming in and doing all this stuff.
Yeah. And to your point, I mean, it's your team in dentistry, and I think in just business in general, but I can only speak to dentistry because that's what I'm in, is so important because they, set you up to be able to spike the ball. So it definitely, having good team with interpersonal skills makes a lot of difference. And we also wanted to make sure that the doctors that joined us, Dr. Elliott and Dr. Wise, who are kind of like, us 4 starting dentists, had really great, ethics and wanted to produce good dentistry, but had good personalities too. So we have a really good team of I think foundational dentists to be able to build off of, and we're lucky to have them. So.
Yeah.
Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you.
Absolutely.
Which is huge.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because then now you're branding and building out this portfolio with that practitioner-led mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, we run it, we're here on the grounds, and we're doing all the work. We know the struggles when a dentist or somebody charts something and says XYZ occurred, it was tough or whatever. You can say, okay, here's how we've got experience in the field to work through it, to better that care, to better that service we're providing to the customers.
100%. Yeah, and having a good, strong team of dentists will help, with recruitment in the future, and be able to, because it's all about to scale effectively, you have to attract the right people, and so that's something we're always thinking with, like, the systems we're integrating into the practices too, with intention for the future.
So, and then in the whole rebranding that you did, how did that kind of come to be? I mean, obviously you came to be a part of the team, but like, was it always, hey, we're going to rebrand it, or was it, hey, we really need to change the way we present ourselves with the forward thinking of, we want to start buying up practices here locally?
Well, I met a very successful orthopedic surgeon who had a few. He just said, never associate your name with it. Even though I have friends of mine who have successful group practices that their name is associated with it. So we wanted to come up with some type of name. And she ended up coming up with that herself. And that's a little challenge because for a while I lost some patients. I thought, he died, he retired, same building, different sign. Where's the name? So that's a challenge. But I think we've kind of overcome that now.
Yeah, that was definitely a challenge. And I think that's part of when you look at it, he was Timothy R. Rabon DDS, like that. And so, but you can't scale that name. And so, we wanted to come up with, pick a name that would be kind of the name forever, essentially. And so we're quite intentional with the future, but we have a federal trademark for Model Dentistry. So we have been approved for, no one can use the name Model Dentistry in all of the U.S. Now, who knows if we'll expand outside of Louisiana? Yeah, but we're that forward thinking. But yeah, we really wanted to think of, okay, if we're going to make this change, I know you said y'all are recently undergoing rebranding, like it's not easy. I'm sure, have you had some challenges with it, with like...
Well, it's just remembering where the logos are. Like for us, like Jay can attest, it's like, okay, well, no, like we've got a logo here, we got a logo there.
Yeah.
And even then I'm reviewing things, it's like, okay, it's not just, because for me, it's not a name change. It's an image change. Yeah. Okay. And it's even not, so much so as a content change. It's literally just, we're changing the logo. But even just changing a logo
comes with headaches.
It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So like you look in the studio, like we got all the old logos, so to speak, all around. And it's like, well, I'm not going to go and change everything all at once.
Right.
Because that's super expensive to do.
Yeah.
But it's like we have to look at on the digital side. And, Jay's over here producing this thing. And it's like, okay, well, we got a logo in the lower left corner of this thing. Okay, we've got images over here. And it's like you almost have a list of like, where is the logo visible? All the way down to like email signatures have to get updated. And it's all those little details that when people say, well, let's just change the brand. It's like, well, hang on.
Yeah. It's a lot of headache.
There's this laundry list of everything that has to happen, even when you change just an image of the brand and not necessarily a whole name change like y'all went through.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, I think, stuff you don't realize it until you're doing it. And it's like, because you have to worry about all that and you have to run your business. So it's
and the business has to keep going at the same time too. That's got to happen there. Yeah.
Yeah. But so we really we knew it would not be an easy thing to overcome. And so we wanted to be so intentional about setting ourselves up for the best ability to not have to go through these changes again. So that's why we're like, we're going big, federal trademark. No one in the U.S. can take it from us. We're going to do it one time. We never have to deal with the headache. So, and like I think I mentioned to y'all earlier, we picked the actual image. We're happy with that. We have our websites, and we hope that that will be the only change we'll ever have to make. But it was definitely challenging. But again, I think we're on the other side of it now. But yeah, because it's what you worry with patients. They see and they don't know if you're still there, and that's important communication. But I think what you said earlier was really insightful, the informed communication. So we really tried to tell our patients beforehand, but I think you can never over communicate. And if we ever had to do it again or acquire a different practice in a different way where we had to do a brand change, like to that existing name, just over communication was what helps keeping people informed in the loop.
Yeah, especially, as you start to buy more and more locations, you then have to kind of go into that location and say, hey, here's our game plan. Like you basically have to have your internal communications be externalized.
Correct.
To say, here's our plan of what we're going to do. It's like in 6 months, nothing's going to change. Like whatever the roadmap is. Like the next 6 months, we're going to put new systems. The next 6 months, we're going to try to make sure everybody's cohesive via every single location. And it's like you've got to roadmap it out, not only for y'all to plan what to do, but like you got to have your team on board behind that whole plan. You got to have your patients on plan as well.
Yeah.
Because if, to your point, they saw Model Dentistry, it's like, oh, well, is he dead? Like,
right.
What happened? Like it's, I was going there for him. I wasn't going there for the building, like it was him. That's the service I wanted. And it's so tough in service-based industries where you have an individual service provider.
Yes.
And it's tied to a person, right? You're not just saying that, oh, I'm using XYZ product and I'm tied to that product. It's like, no. Like, I've got a technical person that's doing my work. And we're in the CPA world, it's the same way.
Yeah.
Like you get that comfort level, like they know everything about me. They know my kids, all this and that. And it's like, but if they're gone, where do I, I'm starting on, they feel as a patient or as a customer, they're starting over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really, and that's something we had discussed, and that's a challenge. And like, how do you build a brand that is so intimately connected with a provider or, whoever it is that you're hiring? Like, how do you do that? I think the answer is, at least from a broad perspective, it would be, I guess, to build quality around like, I don't know what it's called, it's where there's a transfer of trust in the name individually. Like people see Model Dentistry or they see your CPA's first name, they know that the quality of what it provides. So they're confident no matter who they interact with or deal with is going to deliver that same quality. And I think you see that with a lot of businesses, but dentistry is a challenging one to do that because people want providers that they have known and built a relationship with. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a tax return filed and have the name be the same. It's another thing to have someone's new hands in their mouth.
Right. I got you.
It's like, what is? Who are you?
Yeah.
You know, like you don't understand my dental conversation notes, right? You know, like it's a whole other language. You don't understand my dental language and your hands in my mouth, and we're talking. My other dentist, they knew exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you're just like, wait, can you repeat what you just said? Like, what are you talking about here? Like, let me just finish this real quick,
Yeah.
And it is a challenge.
Yeah.
But clearly it's what y'all have done has become great because of y'all are like actually looking into different partnerships now with different groups and organizations, like the Miss USA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so how did that come about?
Yeah, so that was something. So there's obviously Miss USA, and then there's each individual state. There's Miss Louisiana USA. And so that was, again, I like to think of the future. And so before I was out of dental school, I was thinking like, that's a great, there's only one in Louisiana. So that's great for business, for marketing, and also would just be fun. I think it aligns with our brand and kind of the vibes of our practice. And so I had reached out to the people who ran Miss Louisiana USA before I had even graduated and kind of aligned. The title has been like flipped, I think, between a few different people. But I just kind of reached out and tried to communicate honestly. And so we set that up to where right when I graduated, we took over. And so we're Miss Louisiana USA official dentist. So before the girls go off to Miss USA, they come to us for any of their like cosmetic needs. And so it helps, just show to patients and the people of our community that out of everywhere in Louisiana, if you want a small makeover, like we're the place to come to. And so we actually also have an exciting new partnership that we're going to be going to Charleston in a couple weeks. So there's been like, I don't know all the details, but there was a change in the Miss USA kind of organizations. And so there's this new pageant called Miss All American, and it's a national pageant. And
it used to be, you remember how, Holly Berry? She was the first Miss
All American.
Yeah.
She
won that pageant.
It had existed for a little while. I think they actually were the first people that created a teen division. But anyway, it's basically being revamped, and there's a lot of big faces who are like going about it. And so we're now the official Miss All American dentist of the whole nation. Country. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So just those little things that are just kind of cool and fun. And the way it works is we offer a certain amount of dental work for them, and
the sponsorship
we basically sponsor it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are just little things that we're just I guess I would say the only way that it's just through being intentional and opening that path. And then obviously we have quality of work that would allow us to do so, and they know that, and we've shown them what we do and everything. So
yeah, I mean they wouldn't have added you to the other piece if you weren't doing a good job on the front end.
Correct.
Yes, exactly.
So your work clearly speaks for itself in that regard, where people are noticing and saying, yeah, well, you can, come on this piece too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you have the whole other world of like this NIL field.
Yeah.
So have y'all dabbled with that?
We're looking to that.
Okay.
She's.
It was every one of them athletes take pictures, right?
Yeah.
I know. And so we have.
Would be nice to have a great smile.
That's right.
Coaches or athletes or.
Yeah.
I think Joe Burrow was one of the early ones where they were like, okay, he went from nothing to like this perfect smile.
He got a whole set of
almost overnight, and people are like, what happened here?
Yeah. Everyone could tell. I remember that. I remember that being sent to me. That's something that we are quite ignorant on, and we've had the idea of wanting to get into it, but I'm not educated on how that whole universe works. So it's something that I would love to. I need to spend some more time researching or talking to someone who can tell us what to do about it. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, the whole new just world of marketing.
Yeah.
With that, and like
marketing has gotten crazy.
Yeah. It's just social media.
It's it's everything. Like it's social media, it's actual physically in the community now. It's like I saw you on social, but you weren't at XYZ event.
Yeah.
Or you weren't involved in this capacity. Now it's like, okay, we're having these marketing circles of, oh yeah, if I saw you on social doing something cool, that's great. But now it's okay, I need to see that on social, but I also need to see it here at this event. Then I start seeing, it's like now it's no longer just acceptable to have like a super strong social media campaign. It's like we need a whole encompassing marketing avenue that we're going to do other things, going through the Miss USA, going through NIL, and like going through other partnerships that are strategic, and how do we get and leverage other audiences so your brand gets out there. Yeah. It's like we want somebody we can trust through people we already know and trust.
Right. Yes. Have you dabbled in NIL, or is that possible with? I mean, I guess that's
a whole nother level that we're just.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna let everybody else figure out all the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, and
that's smart.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and there's definitely things within certain fields where it works really well for certain fields, and it might not for other ones. So that's, I think, maybe part of the reason that we haven't fully delved into it, but it's definitely on the radar. I just need to figure out kind of how to research more about it, but
yeah, it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, definitely. It's changed the landscape for sure.
Oh yeah, it's the total landscape of marketing has changed over the last 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, and that was what was really important for us too. That that's, I think, entirely different for people. Like, my dad's been doing this for 40 years. I mean, I will say, so I don't know if flagship location is what you would call it, but our, I guess, original location of his office is a amazing location. It's on the corner of Jor and Hooper Road. There's 30,000 cars.
It's a busy intersection.
Pass a day. So his original marketing was he invested in a digital sign.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones. It's probably the second one in dentistry. It's my own billboard, where you can change it, and whatever you can think of, you can. It's like a digital billboard.
Yes.
I mean, it's not huge. It's like a piece of plywood,
right.
8 by 4, big enough.
On his corner. So he kind of did that, and, it's not cheap, but he invested in that. I would say it was like a kind of forerunner of that. And then just being on that corner and having so many cars pass and seeing it, he's never, other than that, really ever had to spend $1 of marketing in his life over his career, which is very lucky. And just due to a location, which location matters a lot in dental office. I mean, I guess it's not the most essential thing, but it can make or break you from terms of having to spend more in marketing.
Oh, 100%.
So he just gets visibility, and his practice has been built so he has so many walk-ins. They just I saw the sign, I'm just going to walk in, and instead of being, unless you're tucked away with 20 other dental practices on another road. But so whenever I came in, it was okay, Dad, we have to invest to a certain degree in Instagram and social media. It's different because you're wait, I have to pay money to run an Instagram, but this is the whole landscape of marketing today. And we've gotten patients from being Miss Louisiana USA didn't doing those things are, they pay out on the back end, but it's very different.
And every little bit adds up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this has been a lot of fun. But before we get you out of here, we do have a set list of questions we ask every guest.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
I would say be mobile, because I hurt myself playing basketball and my ankles are both shot. So I wish I could run and jump like I used to.
I would say having weekends on. I know my dad mentioned his farm earlier, but in Mississippi, when I would go with all my cousins and just carefree and young and just had fun. I wish I could do that again.
Absolutely. What are 3 lessons you've learned? You've got a great successful career, and you're on right at the rise of everything with yours. What are 3 lessons you've learned along your way?
So I'm going to narrow that down to 2. And I learned these probably the last 4 or 5 years. I think they're so impactful in any aspect of entrepreneurship. And I heard these both on different podcasts. And one is earn the right to receive that phone call. So say there's a bunch of people mingling, and you want to be the nice and the knowledgeable, and the person is say someone in there, let's just say financially, has an investment opportunity, and there's 50 people in there, but he's only got room for one. You want to be the one he calls. That's been to make an effort to mingle and be visible with people, and that's been blessed me several times when I've had opportunities come up. I guess because I earned the right to receive that phone call. And another one that's allowed me to meet a few really great people is when I go to an event. Let's say it's a mastermind. I go to the host, and hopefully I already know them some, and I'll say, who is here that I need to meet? And the host is appreciative that you thought enough to ask him that. And then when you go meet, he said, go meet that guy, and go meet that guy or girl. And you go meet them and say, you know what? I asked the guy or the host or hostess who's here I need to meet. He pointed you out. So that makes them feel good too. So, and I met some really, really interesting people because they said, you know, I met 2 different billionaires on that. Billionaires. I've met a guy who his career was he spent years raising tigers. And he's got many pictures where he's got Bengal tigers laying watching TV with, you know, just things that you wouldn't meet unless you made an intentional effort to either earn the right to receive the phone call or who's there I need to meet. So I thought those were 2, and they've really been profound in my life in the last 5 or 6 years about opportunities that's opened up.
Yeah, I will say he's a master networker. He's quiet, but he's a master networker, and I think through being intentional about things like that, there's been a lot of doors open because of that. And I guess I would say for my third, because I know he did those first 2, just for the third, I would say it kind of goes off that, but it's something I've tried to do in my life. But just, I think the most intentional always wins. And so that takes curating what it is that you think that you want, and it takes observing kind of your own mind and your goals and being realistic about who you are and what goals you want so that you can take intentional steps and actions every day, and those small steps compound. And I mean, I have many more years to come, but even in the short amount of time that we've been in this, we just bury our head in the sand every day doing the small things, and we've looked up and are like, wow, we've come so far. And so I think repeating that would be is great for people, I would assume, to have success in entrepreneurship. So I think just being intentional.
Yeah. No, I love all of those. What is something you love about Louisiana?
It's home. I mean, that's I've left out of high school. When I graduated, I didn't want to just work at one of the plants. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I went to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, West Point, Annapolis Air Force, and I was there. But the second I got off the bus, I knew I didn't want to be an officer. But I was stuck for 3 years. So I've been, other than those 3 years, I've been in Louisiana. I just love the food, the culture, the outdoor activities, like LSU sports, and I'm kind of a basketball junkie, LSU basketball junkie, so it's just home.
Yeah, I lived in New York for a little while, and I lived in Paris for a little while, so I have been able to live other places, and I love Louisiana. I think that it's home, so obviously there's benefits, there's family and friends, but I think that with that being said, I mean, you can go bust down the streets in New York and have a life where you're working till midnight every night in investment banking, but Louisiana, I think, offers a good balance of a slow pace to life that still allows for success, to be had in entrepreneurship and everything. But I just think it has a good balance of what's important in life, and there's still fun and good food and drinks and people who don't take life quite too seriously, which I think is a superpower for sure.
There's definitely those folks that are just like relaxed, easygoing here in Baton Rouge, and especially Louisiana.
Yeah.
So then the final question, what can I do to help you?
Oh. Well, we just appreciate the exposure. That's I think you've helped us today, just to hopefully get our word out that we're here to help people with any dental problems they may have. We kind of have a wide range of services, and got great dentists, great employees, great hygienists, front door to back. We make an effort to do our best for you, but I appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. I'm glad to be here and get the exposure and talk to you, and maybe we'll follow up on another podcast years down the road and have many more locations. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now, how are you get to half dozen, 2 dozen locations? I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So, well, thank y'all for coming on the show. I appreciate your time today. And,
this was fun.
Making the trek out here is really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So fun. Thanks.
Absolutely. And thank you everybody else for watching or listening, whatever platform you're consuming us on. We'll see you next week on another episode of The Patty G Show.